Okay, hello everyone. Starting this video, and here we will start with our statistics part from True Basic, and here we will read all the definitions important for the statistics part, and we will try to learn everything in a great detail so that all this implementation will be used in your further higher studies when you will be reading your uh, next semesters. So, starting with this. So, okay. So here it is written that what is the data analytics? So, data analytics is the science of analyzing raw data to make conclusions that uh, conclusions about the information. This is the definition, CSO definition of data analytics. It is used to analyze the data to make conclusions about the information. It encompasses a wide range of analysis techniques. Okay, wide range of analysis techniques such as it includes math, as we are reading in our mathematics, the part of um, uh, real number and part of probability covering random variable and statistics also we are studying this one. Statistics we are studying the mean, median, mode, everything. Standard deviation, the variance, and the combined variance, combined mean, and the correlation coefficient, variation, everything. We're reading in the statistics part and the computer science. We use these three to analyze the data. So also you are reading in the computer science about the uh, what we are reading in the computer science. We are reading about the organization part and later on we will learn Python that includes NumPy to compute all the things. Okay, all these are accompanies with the statistics part to draw insights for from the data sets. Data analytics helps businesses optimize their performance more efficiently, maximize the profit, or make more strategical decisions. Strategically guided decisions. Okay. What is meant by that? Strategically guided decision means after visualizing all the things from the math, from the statistics, and the computer science, they will be making a strategy to maximize their profit. And these decisions are guided by the company and data analysts, what you are going to be in future, and the computer software engineers, they guide the company owners to take the decisions like that, that are strategically according to the strategy. These are guided decisions. Okay, the techniques and the processes of the data analytics have been automated into mechanical processes and algorithms. This we will be using in the mechanical processes and use the coding, the algorithm part that work over the raw data uh, from human conjunctions. These are automated by AI in the future, but AI will not replace. Later on, we will having a debate on that one. Okay. So moving on to the next topic. The next topic is various approach to data analytics. So the first approach here given is descriptive analysis. Descriptive analysis, what it wants to convey, I am telling. This approach involves looking at what happened in the past and summarizing the data to gain insights into historical trends and patterns. This uses simply they uses reports, they uses visualization techniques like graphs using NumPy, uh, graphs using Matplot. Okay, you will be learning about this one in the later classes when we will study the NumPy. Next one is diagnostic analysis. This approach focuses on understanding why something happened by analyzing the data and identifying the root cause of the specific outcome. This after analysis you will find the diagnosis and the doctoral language. The diagnosis meaning actually deeping dive into the body, the diagnosis part. The doctor will diagnoses the problem by checking the root cause of the problem. The doctor asks you that questions like what you have eaten, where you have eaten, or where if you have a stomach related problem, and ask all these questions, and based on that, he provides that these medicines to be taken, uh, consumed, and you will be rectify or corrected in some days. Okay, there's a diagnostic analysis. Or root cause. They will find the root cause of the problem. Third one is predictive analysis. This approach involves using historical data to make prediction about the future events. I will simply now tell you four questions that will be used you by you to remember all the four. Okay. So the fourth one is the predictive analysis. This approach aims to determine what should be done next based on the insights gained from the descriptive, diagnostics, and predictive analysis. This uses the four kind of things, and based on that, they will be making their decisions. Okay, so now I will be telling you the questions here. For the first one, that is descriptive, you will ask the question what. What says what happens in the past? What happened in the past? Then, in the diagnostic, you will ask the question why something happened in the past. Okay. Then you will ask the question what might happen in future. Okay. And the fourth one is what actions you should take based on the data. So there are three whats and one why. For the diagnostic case only, you will be using the why question, and for another things you will be using the what questions. For now, revise with me. The descriptive type tells us what happened in the past by looking at the inside the historical things, and the diagnostic one finds the root cause of the problem, and the third one, the predictive analysis, find does what we can apply in the future, and the fourth one, the predictive analysis, uses the three types and gain some insights to overcome the issue. What can be done next? Okay, so the four you must remember: first descriptive, second diagnostic, then third predictive. Is predictive, and the fourth one is prescribe. You can remember all these things if um, you apply some brain in with the case of the doctors. Doctor first analyzes your past data by asking you some questions. This is their descriptive analysis. Then the second one, they finds the cause by root cause by asking that questions. They finds that what is the diagnosis by doing the diagnosis. The third one is in the predictive analysis. They predict what might be happen from that in their future of the child or the person approached to the doctor, or how the medicine can correct the person. And the fourth one is they will give you a prescription, that is a prescriptive analytics. Okay, we use a lot of time here. So moving on to the next. The next one is softwares. Softwares, Python, that is, let it, let this be for this what. So what, how software helps us to analyze the data. Here, I think written in just basic thing. So the data analytics relies on the variety of software tools, including spreadsheet. You might be knowing what is a spreadsheet. A spreadsheet is the thing used in the Excel, in the data visualization tool. You might be using the data visualization tool in the Excel, or in the um, Python itself using the matplot I have told you just now. The next one is reporting tools. Okay, fourth one is data mining programs, and fifth one is open source languages for greatest data manipulation. Means for greatest data, uh, means for greatest data consumption, or greatest data uh, taken out from that. Manipulation simply meaning the ability to effectively change and modify the data to get the beneficial insights. Okay, it helps the businesses optimize their performance, perform more efficiently, maximize profits, or make more strategically guided decisions. I have just told now what is meant by the strategically guided decision. The company makes the strategy, and the strategy was guided to the person who is the head, and they make decisions accordingly. So if you move more about the open source, if you think of open source language is freely available code can be uh, used by you. That is the open source language. And the reporting tools are summary of the data, and the data mining programs are patterns in large data sets. You will be learning about the LLM, that is the large language model, and the later on part. So moving on, data analytics can be applied to any type of information to reveal the trends and matrices that would otherwise be lost in mass of data. This information can then be used to optimize processes and increase the overall efficiency of the businesses or the system. The data analytics is used for this case only. The previous four steps what I have read that is the descriptive analysis, the diagnostic part. The third one is the the predictive analysis, and the fourth one is prescriptive analysis is uh, used by the use of the softwares. This can't be done by the human because there are lots of data of a company established from 90s. There are lots of data to visualize everything and do the analysis accordingly is a great or huge task for the humans to do. So computer does this by using the softwares. So moving on to the to one example, here you need to draw the graph for these four data. Okay, so please pause the video and try to make uh, the graphs from this data. Okay, okay, you need to draw graph. This is your question. So after drawing the graph, you will be reading here. You have analysis from that data after you have drawn this course. Okay, you have made the graph for this data I have just shown you now. You have made the analysis for the data like this. Okay, okay. These are the analysis you have done from that data. No, got it. After that, you have observed there are 11 observations and the mean of the x terms present in the data are 9 and the y's are um, 7.5. Then the equation of regression of line y is this. You will be learning what is a regression line. Then the standard error of estimate of the slope. Then the t. Okay, t is I think the period, and the square sum of the squares is 110. The regression sum of the squares is 27.50. The residual sum of the squares of y is 11.75 and the correlation coefficient is 0.82, and r square is the coefficient of regression. You will be learning more about it in the later on classes. So this is 0.67 graph telling all these things. Okay, so after the standard error estimation of the slope and these things, you have drawn all these views from by seeing the data. Now, all these are done by the computer softwares, and this descriptive analysis is then used for diagnostic process, then for um, then for prediction predictive analysis, then for prescriptive analysis. Okay, these are the space for you to draw the graphs. So moving on to the next is the method of collection of data. Data can be collected from the primary sources, that is primary data, and primary data are of some types. We will be reading that one, and the process is another process is secondary sources. Primary sources is nothing but the data that are collected first hand by a researcher or a team of researchers for specific research project or purpose. It is original information that has been previously published, uh, that has not been previously published. Okay, these are first hand data, not previously published or analyzed, and it is gathered directly from the source or through the use of the data collection methods. And we will be learning about all these methods in brief. Okay, we will be learning about this now. The surveys, the interviews, observations, and the experiments are the four methods for the collection of the primary data. So simply the primary data you can write beside the notes. The primary data are nothing but the data which are collected by the researcher himself or herself. Himself or herself. That is first hand. First hand. It is not published previously or analyzed and gathered and it is analyzed and gathered directly through the use of the collection of the data methods. So, okay, next is our some common formats for primarily data collection includes these are first is textual data, basis of the text. These includes written responses uh, to the surveys or the interview as well as written notes from the observations. The person is there that he will take up the surveys or he will be given a Google form to fill up that checks your surveys accordingly. Think of a product and the company wants you to give reviews of that product by the Google Form surveys. You need to fill up that one. That will give them the textual data for the company analysis. So next one is numeric data. Numeric data includes data collected through the structured surveys or the experiments such as, excuse me, ratings, rankings, or test scores. The numeric data includes data collected through structured surveys or experiment. Structured surveys. These are not unstructured things. These are structured surveys or experiments such as ratings, rankings, or test scores. Okay. Basically, this wants to say that uh, the textual data are the surveys. You can write, just briefly know the things. You will be using these things, then you will know what I meant to say. Surveys, these are reviews of any product. Then these are examples of textual data. Next one is our numeric data. Numeric data includes the ratings. If you have used Flipkart or Amazon, you will be asked for the ratings between 1 star to 5 star. These are numeric data. The test scores in the schools are in the form of numeric data of a child or a student. The audio data includes the recording of the interview, focuses groups, and the discussions. You can think of like Ranbir Alawadia podcast. Okay, Alawadia podcast. You can think of Raj Samani podcast. These are recorded interviews, focuses, groups, and other discussions are in the form of audio data, the visualization data. If you are seeing in the video of includes the photographs or the video of the events, behavior, and the phenomenon being studied. If you think of the case study type video, you can visualize the thing case study like video like uh, Monkey Monk. I think the video he makes a great uses the case study things. The Dhruv Rathi is the main player of this. Okay, uses photographs and video to make you understand and visualize the things. These are visual type of data. The fifth one is the sensor data. Sensor data is collected through electronic sensors, temperature readings, GPS, and motion data. You can think of the motion sensors which are used to detect a person enter some building, or you can think of the sensors, fingerprint sensors used by the companies to take the biometrics or the uh, attendance of the employee, biometrics types of data, and the temperature readings. Temperature readings simply uh, tells the temperature for the analysis of the temperature, what you are seeing in the weather, that is of it can be in your mobile and then be in your Google Chrome. So the next type of data is biological data. Biological data is the data includes data collected through biological samples such as blood, urine, or the tissue sample. Here, if you want to remember this one, think of Prime Minister, uh, okay, President of America, Donald Trump. Think of him. Uh, if you know that the Donald Trump uses or carries his own toilet with him, if they move to another country or move to another country for some sign or to meet the president of another country, they do not use their the toilets of the hotels where they lived, but they carries their own the biological toilets that use they use these things in the hotel itself because they don't want the country they visited to know the reports of their the urine and the stool can be used for the data of the body, what medicines they are taking or the things, what are the problems in the body that can be used as biological weapon. So the biological data is the most thing you must remember the thing. So this is the next line. You can enter this one. So the primary data is collected through research methods such as survey, interview, experiment, and observation types. Uh, I have just told you the things what includes the primary data collection. The data primary data is to gather information directly from the source without relying on the secondary source of the pre-existing data. Okay, so if you recall, there are five types of primary data we have just studied now. The first one is the textual data where you uses the surveys and the interviews. Then the second one is your second one is your numeric data where you give rating or the reviews or the test scores of a student. Then the third one is your audio data. Audio data is like podcast. You can think of the Rasamani or Ranveer Alawade podcast. The fourth one is the visual data that is used to visualize a thing like the group that he makes the background video or the video uses in the video itself to make you understand the thing. So this is the use case of the visualization. The fifth one is sensor type of data that uses the electronic sensors like biometric in the companies for their attendance and heat measurements or the weather measurements. And next one is your what? Next one is your biological data. Biological data such as the data collected from biological samples such as urine, blood, or the tissue samples. Okay, so I think you have a great knowledge on the six types of primary data we have just learned. So moving on to the next is the definition for the secondary data. Secondary data refers to the data that is collected by someone other than the primary user. It is not directly collected, but it uses, it is not directly collected, but it is collected by someone else. It is not collected by the primary user. It is collected by someone else. It is not the direct data. There was a report or there was a thing that is written, and uh, this was the primary data collected by directly from the persons or some individuals or something directly by the researcher. Okay, these are researcher that directly collect the primary data. This primary data, if used by someone to analyze or make graphs or to analyze or for some other study purposes, these are use case of secondary data. Okay, I think you have great knowledge of the primary and the secondary data. It is the information that has been collected, processed, and published by someone else rather than the researcher gathering the data first hand. Okay, moving on to the types of the secondary data. Here we have two types of secondary data based on the data source. There are internal sources of data and the external sources of data. We will learn more about it. So, first read the definition. The definition says it refers to the information gathered within the researcher's company or the organization. Okay, such as database. This refers to the data collected outside the organization, such as government statistics and mass media channels. First one is internal source of data, that the information gathered within the researcher's company or the organization, such as the database, and the external sources of data, that is the data collected by the government statistics. Refer to the data collected outside the organization. Internal is inside the organization that the data collected, and external sources of secondary data is collected outside the organization, like the government statistics or the mass media channels, like the news channels. Okay, these are external sources. So if you want to remember the thing, I am giving one example. So internal sources of data, suppose you have a shoe company like sales records showing which models are the best sellers or the customer reviews they are already collected from the websites. These are the types of internal sources of data that are used by the four processes that I have told you earlier: the descriptive, the um, diagnostic, the predictive, and the fourth one is the prescriptive. For data, this data they have already collected. Next is external sources of data. External sources of data could be government statistics or the consumer spread habits, articles about the latest footwear trends in the fashion magazines, or even the data collected from the social media like public opinions. These are types of external sources. So remember the two example. This is very important. Two example, the statistics made by the companies by analyzing the best sellers are examples of internal sources of data, and the thing that are the trend or the habits analyzed by the government if used by the organization, that will be the external sources of data. So the secondary data sources are extremely useful as they allow researchers and the data analysts to have the build large, highly qualified databases that help solve businesses research problems. To give, they use the softwares to get the stratified, stra, stratified, guided decisions. Okay. Some popular examples of the secondary data include the tax record, the census data, electoral statistics, health record, book journals, and the social media monitoring and more. If you are interested in collecting secondary data, you can explore external sources such as government publications, academic journals, market research reports, and other existing databases or the datasets. Okay, secondary data is collected either by the organization, that is internal, or the outside the organization by, from the government sources, that is the external, outside the organization. Okay, so now we will learn one thing about the thing that is I have just discussed now about the secondary sources, that is the census data. We will learn more about it now. So census method. Okay, the census method is a method of collecting data in which an investigator gathers information related to the problem under investigation by covering every item of population or the universe. If you think of the census data, these are data collected by the, if you are in India, you can think of the Anganwadis. They collect the data, or the Anganwadi members are come to your home to collect data or to give the malaria, filaria medicines based on their family data, or they give polio injections and many things. They collect data for that reasons only. The census data of the population are usually made in 10 years. These are used to make policies for the whole countries, to plan the infrastructure and to development of the healthcare and the education of the country. These are very much useful things. So it involves a complete enumeration. Enumeration means the process of counting the people one by one of the population where the data is collected from each and every item. For example, if an investigator wants to investigate the color composition of the cars, say of the Tata company in India, they need to collect on the colors of each Tata car sold in India. Okay, these are reports for the census. The census of the population is the most essential method of the statistical inquiry, and it is conducted in every 10 years. I just told you now. The census data are collected um, by those who collect, and these are collected in every 10 years for the rise in or the fall in the population. The last census was held in February 2021. So the census method, these are data where I have collected. I think that this PPT was made before 2021. So the next census was, I think, happened already. You can check up that. But usually these are made in every 10 years. The census methods is suitable when the size of the population is small. There are widely diverse item in the population, so intense examination of different items is required, and a high degree of reliability and the accuracy is needed. So India have many types of groups. So uh, if uh, there are suppose a group of 100 people, suppose these are 100 people, and these are groups of suppose 5 people, groups of another 5 people. Okay, if you collect the data of the all the 100 peoples from this, they and this data will be not applicable to each and every member of the of the all the individuals you have taken here. Not applicable for everyone, not very useful for everyone in the 100 people's thing. But if you take make groups of five people and understand their problems, understand their problems, it will be more helpful for them to make strategical decisions for the people, uh, so that they will be taking care of the all the persons. You can think of like this: if a school have 5 children only, the teacher will have focus on each and every student. If the school have 100 students, then the focus will be not for all, but the focus will be on the primary first line or the first second line students. All the students are must not be covered, and the doubts remain the doubts forever. These are the problems. So the census data are useful when the size of the population is small. I have understood why the size of the population must be small, and why diverse items in the population will affect the, if you take the large case. So you must remember the wide variety of the diversity will affected when you take 100 people case. Intensive examination equals so that each individual's and unit in the population is studied in great detail, like in the 5 people cases. And next is high degree reliability, information collected very accurate and consistent, and accurate, must be accurate. This is important. We will learn more about the information accuracy, how much this is needed in the later part. So we have read the census data. Now we will learn about more about the survey method. Survey method is, I told you in the primary method. We will learn about more about it now. So the survey method is a process or a tool or a technique that has researcher used to gather information in a research by asking questions to the predefined group of people. Okay, these are survey methods. Okay, first one is, it is a flexible and exciting process that allows you to collect relevant information from the research participant or the people who have access to the required data. Next one is point 2. There are different there are different survey methods that allow you to collect information, typically such as interviews, surveys, or the observations. Next is typically you have a research context, the type of systematic investigation, so that you must not face any problem while collecting the data. You have a systematic process. So, what are the three things? First one is the data collected must be flexible and exciting. Exciting means that must not be boring when others sees it or the researcher sees it. Next one is the data collected must cover all the participants and taking part in the survey. And the second part says about the different methods, like it can be done through survey, it can be done through interview, it can be done through research context like investigation and systematic investigation. These are the process of the data collections. So the survey method is the process of the tool or a technique that the researcher used to gather information in the research by asking question to the predefined group of data. To predefined group of people. Okay. There are some different types of survey methods that are including interview. We have learned about all this in the previous part in brief, and now we are reading each and everything in detail again for your deep understanding. First one is interview. Interview. Interview is a survey method, research method, where the researcher facilitates some sort of conversation with the research participants to gather useful information about the research subject. Okay, you can think of a typical interview. What do we? First one is here also like this. The first one is this conversation can happen physically, face to face interview, or the virtually by video conferencing or the audio conferencing by just phone calls. And the second one is during an interview, the researcher has opportunity to connect personally with the research subject and establish some sort of relationship with the uh, interviewee. Or no, you can think of like that. Interviews. The first point says interview are of two types. It can be virtual or like in the Zoom or the Google Meet, or it can be by phone call, and the interview can be of physical. These are the first type that the interview can be taken. The second is the interview uh, makes the interviewee gives the interviewee some sort of relationship by, like, if you can think of the customer care of think of Apple. You have customer care and they connects you, like it's a problem of theirs, like if you have purchased a mobile phone of their company, and says them that the mobile is facing some issues, they uh, uh, connect you like that. It's a problem of theirs, like their mobile is got hanged off or some sort of thing that you have provided. So it establishes a relationship that the interviewee or the connects or become more free with the interviewer. So this is the process of interview. The next is the survey method. Survey method is nothing but a survey method is a collection of the tools that lists of a set of structured questions to which respondents provide answers. Survey methods can be conducted in various formats such as online survey, paper surveys, and telephone surveys. Surveys can be quantitative or qualitative depending on the type of the research and the type of the data you will gather. Okay, survey can be online, can be done in papers, or can be done through telephone. Like if you call the customer care, they want you to dial some numbers to go to the list of their problems. If you press 1, then this the problems that are listed will come. Then the second one is you can think of that one. So next sentence here is the qualitative and quantitative. The questions of the qualitative data are like if you think of the iPad company or Apple, they tells you that what do you like most about your iPad. This is the quantitative data. Sorry, this is the qualitative data that text. What do you like about the iPad? This is the quantitative data that text. And next one is the qualitative data that text. Next data is quantitative data. Quantitative data means how many times do you use your iPad in a week? They ask a quantitative question. Here we will give a answer in numbers. In numbers, you will give answers. Here you will give answers like qualitative, in some phrase, you will give an answer like good or qualitatively. If the question is what do you like most about the iPad is everything. You can say everything. iPad is a very useful part. Okay, you can say like this. So survey method, first two parts, interview and surveys are gone. Next one is the observation. Observation is nothing but observations involve systematically recording the behavior or the activities of individual or group in natural or controlled setting. This types of data collection is often used in the fields such as anthropology, sociology, and physiology. I will make you understand the thing. Anthropology means study of the human culture and the society. So the researcher uh, observe the field of the research in a great detail. Like this, the control setting, another word here, means specially set up environment. Like you have made some environment for that one. So observations involve systematically recording the behavior or the activities of the individual or the groups of in a natural or a controlled setting. These types of data collection is often used in the field of the anthropology, sociology, and physiology. So next one is the case study. Case study involves in-depth analysis of the particular individual or a group or organization. They typically involve collecting data of the variety of data, including interviews, observations, or the documents. Okay, this is the case study. This involves typically interviews, observations, and documents. Then then is action research. Action research involves collecting data to improve to a specific practice or the process which within an organization or a community. It is often involves collaboration between the researchers and the practitioners. So these choices of the survey methods depends on the researcher you are doing, the research questions, the type of the data you need, and the resources available. So I have just told you the five types. You need to write all the five types here. First one is tell, interview. Second one is second one is what? Second one is survey. Third one is your observation in a control or a free setting, natural setting. Fourth one is case studies from a book or a regional or a journal, that sort of thing. Fifth one is the action research. Action research is, sorry, involves collecting data to improve a specific practice or the process. It can include the collaboration between the researcher and the practitioner. So moving on to the further advantages of the survey. We just studies what is survey and the types of survey, five types, and now we will understand the advantages of survey. Survey often offers several advantages of the data collection. Here, there are some of the keys that the surveys are inexpensive. Surveys are most one of the most cost-effective methods of gathering quantitative data. They are self-administered. Self-administered meaning filling out the surveys rather in person or by virtual method, avoiding the need of in-person interviews. They can be self-administered means uh, self-administered means these are not required of in-person interview, that can be done in the virtual case. You can distribute the surveys through various channels such as websites. In the website, you can check the surveys. You can email us. You can make survey in WhatsApp or in social media profiles. You can take surveys like in the Instagram while you are scrolling the reels. There is a survey of in which class you are studying. You will fill out. That is the survey that is totally inexpensive. That is not expensive. So they uses the Instagram method a lot. So this is the flexibility. You can collect large amount of data. You can think of the Instagram users and the data they are getting from that one. Okay, large amount of information from the diverse demographic in the relatively short time. They can data. They can take up the great amount of data in very short period of time. Next is practical. Surveys provide a practical way to gather information about the specific topics. You have controlled over the questions and ask the format used, such as polls. You can ask the question in polls like this. In the Telegram, you can think of surveys can be in practical use case. They are telling it can be questions. It can be questions. Okay, question answer method. It can be done in the quiz format like MCQs options. Okay, quiz format. Next is open-ended questions or multiple choice questions. Okay, the real-time nature of the surveys allows you to immediate feedback and use the useful insights. So the next one is the fast results. With the today's mobile and online tools, surveys can generate results quickly. Okay, surveys can generate results quickly. First point is first point is depending on the scale and the reach of your questions, you can receive responses as little as 1 day. In these methods, when you were scrolling the reels on the Instagram, they're continuing the surveys for 1 day and giving some $10-20 and get data of a huge number of people. So they get the fast results and these are too inexpensive. And they are very much practical. I've just told you now. Practical gather information about the specific topics. We have control over the questions. You can ask anything in that survey. The speed enables you to make decisions promptly. You can take fast actions accordingly. Fast results gives you fast actions. This can boost your scalability or it can gives you hike. So the scalability is surveys. Uh, Surveys can be scaled to reach a large number of participants. Online survey in particular often a fast response time compared to the traditional methods like in the paper surveys or the in-person surveys. In the telephone method there are of text time. So the online surveys are the most uh, greatly used type of survey methods. You can transfer and use the collected data in various applications to answer important question. You can make analysis the charts accordingly. These advantages makes the surveys on an attractive option for the researcher and the organization looking to collect data efficiently and effectively. So, what are the 4 points you have learned in the survey method? That says inexpensive, totally not expensive. Second is this gives a practical use case. Okay, these are not theoretical. These were using it and from a practical use case, like you have learned here the types like polls, questions you can ask. Uh, these are you are giving it in everyday things. You can ask in quiz format like this. Then it is gives fast result. Fast results help you taking fast decisions. Then fourth one is your scalability. Scalability helps you to a reach a large number of people. This helps your scalability. Next is observation method for collection of data. Okay, observation method is the process. This is the second type of the data collection you have studied in the primary data collection. That is the observation. You have studied what is a survey, what is an interview. Then you are understanding what is the observation method in the collection of the data. You are moving deep in everything. That involves human or the mechanical observation to observe and describe the behavior of the subject. It is the way of collecting relevant information and the data from observing people's behavior. The observational research method is also referred to as the participatory study before because the researcher has to establish a link with the respondent and for this has to immerse himself in the same setting or of theirs. You can understand the line. This is a very easy line. Only then it can be help use observational research methods to collect and take notes. The researcher put them put them in the same setting of the people they are doing research of. Like, if you have a project to understand the tribal people, you need to live with them. You need to live with the tribal people. Like, in this case, you have done this thing, the same settings you are doing to understand them more. Okay, so there are different types of observational methods, including controlled observations. This method is carried out in closed space, who has the control over the environment and the variables. It is done, suppose, in a controlled space. Controlled space like this. This is the area where you will be doing the research work. No one can move out of this area, and the temperature controls is on your hand. Okay, like, think of the conditions that are made in the process of making a test tube baby. IVF method you are knowing. IVF method uses the same settings as of the mother's womb, and it helps the child to born in that condition. And this is the control setting. You have the access to the environment and all the variables used to. Okay, IVF is the method I have told you. You can. These are not examples of the control observations. Control observations, I have just understand you what are the things. These are not exact the use of the control observations. Okay, you will learn everything. Wait for uh, that part. The naturalistic observations, social scientists and physiological generally use the naturalistic observations method in their research. They have no boundary like this, no boundary, open space, no boundary. They can move anywhere for research work. Social scientists and the psychologists generally use these naturalistic observations. These observations involve observing the people and the natural environment without any interference by the researcher. This you can take the example of the tribal people. If you have moved to a tribal people site and you live with them, um, you live with them with the same settings of the in the naturalistic to take the naturalistic observations. Then the third one is the participant observation state method involves the researcher becoming a part of the group being studied. Here you can take up the tribal example. It will be more efficient for this part. Participant observation. This researcher immerses himself in the group, like they here in for this case they study the tribal group, but here they mix up with the tribal group or live with them or live in their house. Here they observe the tribal people from a side. Okay, tribal people are here. They observe them from somewhere in the from a distance. But here they mix up with the tribe. Mix up with the tribe. Okay. So these are the three types of observational methods. The first type is in controlled setting. The observational methods are done in the controlled settings. Next is in free environment. Free environment like in naturalistic method. Natural. Third one is participant observation. Participant observation means they mix up with the group and check their observations. The observational method has several advantages and several disadvantages too. We will now read about that. Here are some key benefits. So advantages are easiest method. It is also the easiest method. The simplest method of the data collection is the method of the observation. Very minimal technical knowledge is required, and even though scientifically controlled observations require some sort of technical skills, like in case of I have told you the IVF needs of doctoral means doing of the MBBS thing, and then you can do. This is the easiest method. So and very more straightforward than the other methods. And there is natural setting, the observations that are collections described from the observation phenomena precisely does not introduce and artificially like other methods in the natural setting. They are phenomena precisely as it controls in natural research environment. These are natural environments. These are easiest methods in the natural settings. High accuracy in the interview method and the questionnaire method. The respondent's information provides an information with which the researcher have to work. These are all indirect methods and there are no means to investigate the accuracy. But in the observation method, if you do the questionnaire or the interview methods, you have it is telling that thing. You have no point for the checking or the investigation of the accuracy what you have taken up. But in case of observation methods, the information accuracy can be checked by various testing, so the data collected by the user is much more reliable. These are some of the observational advantages. These are easiest method. These are easiest method. Easiest method. These are done in natural setting mostly. Natural setting mostly. So get a very pure data. Third one is highly accurate. Highly accurate means there is no chance of any mistake, or we can also test it easily. There are various methods for testing the observational method. So there are some disadvantages, that is it is time consuming. The observational methods are time consuming. It uses a lot of time. Observational takes a lot of time and it is not always possible. It takes time. That is why it gives more precise data. You can think of like that. Always possible to observe everything in the happening. Always not possible to observe everything what is happening. So it can be the observer's biasness. It can affect by the observer biasness. If the observer is biased with the peoples uh, or the observation things, then observer can change it on their own. This can affect the results in the observational methods. The observer biasness can due to the observational personal beliefs, values, and attitudes. Next one is the limited generalizability. The Observation method is limited in generalizability. The results of the observation method cannot be generalized to the other people or the situations. So there are three things. It requires lots time, so time consuming. Second one is it can be observer biased. It can be limited generalizability. Time consuming, observer biased, and it can be time generalizability. You will learn about it in the next thing. If you have doubt in generalizability, please watch. Continue watching, you will understand everything. Next is experimental method. Experimental method is the systematic process of collecting data that involves manipulating the samples by applying some form of treatment prior to the data collected. It refers to the manipulating one variable to determine the changes on the another variable. So this is the experimental data. This is the fourth type of primary data. You have learned the surveys in depth, you have learned the interviews in depth, you have learned the observational method in depth. Now you are learning the experimental methods. What is the experimental methods? So the sample subjected to the treatment is known as experimental units. The experimental research is primarily a quantitative method. You need to highlight this thing. Quantitative method, it allows researchers to have a high level of control over the variables being studied, making it possible to determine if the potential outcome is viable. Experimental research can be used in a variety on a wide diversity situations and industries. For example, the teachers might use experimental research to determine if a new method of teaching or a new method of curriculum is better than the older system, while the pharmaceutical company used experimental research to determine the viability of the new product. They experiment the things in the uh, uh, animals first, then the humans. Like animals like monkeys, monkeys are like humans. The pharmaceutical company uses this, and the teacher might be using in the class to experiment a new teaching method uh, on the experimental basis. So, if you need to remember this one, you need to remember the explanation I am telling now. You need to remember the example of uh, skincare. Okay, skincare. Eh, if you think of the skincare company, some sort of company you can think of. I am describing all the points of the experimental collection of the data. Control checks the daily routine, what they eat, what other products they use. Okay, okay. Next is viability. No, versatility. Sorry. Versatility means they not only show the body lotion, they compare their body lotion with different brands. We will learn about the advantages now, then you will understand the things. So I want you to first check up the advantages, then I will make you understand the thing, then you will more clear about the thing. So first advantage of the experimental research process of primary data collection is control. Researchers have high level of control over the variables being studied, allowing them to determine if the potential outcome is viable, is reliable, like this. Versatility means experimental research is not limited to a specific industry or the type of idea. It is used for a wide variety of situations. Next one is the specific conclusions. Experimental research provide conclusions that are specific and relevant and with consistency. That means replicability. The result of the experimental research can be duplicated when the same variables are controlled by others, promoting them the viability of the concept. Next is the speed. Research conducted within the laboratory environment allows for the replication of the natural settings with faster speed, enabling researchers to get control over the variables. Now I am making you understand all the 5 points I have just told you now. The 5 points: first, control, versatility; third is specific conclusion; fourth is reliability; fifth one is speed. I am taking the example of the skincare, you will understand the thing. Control is checks the daily routine, what other products they are using. Versatility means they not only saw the body lotion, they compare their body lotion with the different brands, their product by product comparison, and how this will be best with some launch of the serum also. Then there are variety of variety of things. Specific conclusions means, as you have studied just now, the specific conclusions are the experimental research provide conclusions and that of the specific and relevant with the consistency. So, derive the skincare example here, derive a specific outcome by use of different products. Okay, gives you the conclusion why to use this product. Okay, versatility means they introduce to the serums, they compare the products uh, by other products. Experimental research not only limited to the specific industry or the type of the idea, they diversify it. Wide variety of situations. They gives you the Lawson um, uh, means the brand that you are talking about. They show you the lotions, their serums, their face products, their um, cosmetics, everything, variety of things, and they have control over your that what other products they are using. Then replicability means if the other researcher use the same conditions, they can replicable the same results. Okay, this provides why to use their product, why to use their product. Gives you conclusion, gives you conclusion. The replicability means if another researcher use the same conditions, he can duplicate the product. Next is the speed. Speed is researcher can create a model of the skin in the lab that looks and behave like real skin. Then they can test their cream on this model at the faster rate if there is using human participants. This allows them to see how the cream works quickly. They can create the same conditions in the laboratory and checks the product without any human sort of thing. The disadvantages are the same edge of the observational methods. Experimental methods have the same disadvantages. It is time consuming that experimental research can B. Time consuming, and it is possible that it is not possible to observe everyone. It can be observer's bias. The observer can do some sort of problem in this, then the whole experiment will be wasted. The third one is the limited general. Now I will make you understand this term. In controlled environment, it can be challenging to apply the findings to the broader population or the real situation. This affect overall research. Okay, general means like in mathematics, if you are deriving something and after this you think you write in general, you can use this formula to apply for all the uh, apply this formula to find all the outcomes if put the values like this. Here the generality means that thing, the general formula if not applied to many variables, then you will not get a means you will not get the outcome. So this is the problem with this. You can don't if not be able to apply to the broader means broader population. There are three methods: time consuming, observer bias, and limited generalizability. Time consuming, observer bias, limited generalizability. Okay, and the five advantages are control. You have control, you have versatility. Third one is specific conclusions. Fourth one is replicability. Fifth one is speed. That's variety. Okay, think you are clear. Now we will learn what is a structured data. We have learned all the four types of primary data in detail and learned some sort of uh, the secondary data, the two types, that is internal and the external. Internal is in the organization itself, and the outside the organization, that is the government body. Then learned one type of that is one type of the government data, that is the external data used by the companies to make the policies, like LIC, that is the census data they are using the thing. So the structured data you can see from the picture here. Even the structured data are organized, structured. The name suggests itself. And the unstructured are random. Like if you have a stack of books, if you organize it in a corrected manner, you can get any book in a very few seconds and get the information if you are finding a book. And if you are putting the book in somewhere in first in your bedroom, another book in your another bedroom, then third book in your bathroom. Okay, sorry for this. Another is in kitchen, another is in your drawing room. So if you misplace the books, you will have more time to get it, get the information you are required. So these are the unstructured data. So the structured and the unstructured data are two different types of data that are sourced, collected, and scaled in different ways. Structured data is highly organized and easily decipherable by the machine learning algorithms. Like the book example I have just told you, the books can be found at an earliest possible. Next one is decipherable. It is typically characterized as quantitative data and is the management used structured query language SQL. I will learn about it in the further videos. Examples of the structured data include the dates, names, addresses, and credit card numbers. They're structured data. Structured data is generally used by the machine learning algorithms and the business user. It is accessible by more tools compared to unstructured. However, structured data has limited uses and storage options. I will tell why this one is the limited options and storage options. This line is telling this one because most of the data are in the form of unstructured. That is why they have limited usage and storage options are very less. So generally stored in data storage systems and rigid schemas. Changes in the data requirements are necessarily update of the all structured data. Read this one. I am coming back in 5 to 10 minutes. Sorry, I'm coming in 2 minutes. Moving to the next. Next is unstructured data. Unstructured data have the following examples: the text files and the documents, the servers, the sensor data, images, video files, audio files, emails, social media data. Unstructured data has no predefined format or the organ. It is more difficult to collect, process, and analyze compared to structured data. It is more difficult to collect, process, and analyze compared to structured data as there is unstructured format. So examples of unstructured data includes text documentation, images, email, work processing, documents, and PDF files. Unstructured data can be collected from various sources such as open-ended survey results, social media comments, and email messages. All these are unstructured type of data. So the collection of the data by using IoT. Data collection using the Internet of Things involves the use of the interconnected devices such as sensors and the system to collect data from the physical world and transmit it over the internet and other networks for storage analysis, and decision making. Here are the data collection works in case of IoTs. First one is your sensors. How it is used in case of sensors. We will now learn it. Get a deeper understand how the sensor data is used. So, IoT application typically start with deployment of various sensors and devices in physical environment. These sensors can include temperature sensors, humidity sensors, motion detector, GPS module, cameras, and many other. No, and many other depending on the specific use case. Deployment means setup. Okay. Humidity sensor it detects the moisture in the environment. So learning more about the sensor data collection using sensors, how this is done. Data acquisition. First is acquisition. Acquisition meaning act of collecting or gathering the data. You can write it. Acquisition meaning act of collecting or gathering data. Okay. Sensors continuously monitor and collect data from the environment they are placed in. This data can be in the form of temperature readings, motion events, location coordinates, video feeds, or other measurable parameters. This data is often analog form and maybe need to convert it into digital format using analog to digital converters. I am making understand the thing. Like in case of the temperature reading, sensor might give a varying voltage corresponding to the temperature, and the ADC converts the voltage into the digital so that the temperature uh, in Celsius it converts it into Fahrenheit. And the analog to digital by using the step means it is done by analog to digital converters. First, if you think of like that, volume knob of the previous radios are there. There are volume knobs like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that are analog type of thing. And now this written 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 volume increasing uh, removed, but uh, the switch is all is still there. We use to increase the volume. After the data acquisition, next one is the data processing uh, at the source. Data processing at the edge. In some IoT systems, data processing may occur at edge on the devices themselves. This can involve basic data filtering, aggregation, or the application of simple algorithms to reduce the volume of the data that needs to be transmitted. Edge processing helps conserving bandwidth and reducing latency. So, what is edge processing? Edge processing, suppose thinking of the motion sensors directly turn on the light without sending the means think of the cloud in the like cloud storage in the Apple devices. Uh, these are and that thing. They directly takes the information from the cloud. If there is any motion detected, then the motion sensor directly turn on the lights of the room in case of the smart home or that type of thing. And the last two words are um, to combining multiple pieces of the data into one, and the bandwidth meaning amount of the data that can be transmitted per unit time, and the latency is the time of delay. Okay. Edge processing is, suppose thinking of the motion sensors directly turn on the lights I've just told you, but it includes without sending the data to the uh, cloud. Like, think of the robots, how they react. If you say them hi, they directly tells you hi without any processing. That converts your information is very fast. So the first method of data collection by the sensors is from the data acquisition, and the data processing at the edge means without any interference or the processing. Data transmission is processed or the sensors raw sensor data transmitted to the central location or the cloud using communication protocols such as Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, cellular network, that is 5G, 4G, or 3C, depending on the IoT application ability. Processed means it already been processed at the edge or in the cloud. Okay. Wi-Fi at the home to connect the phone to the internet. The data from the phone is sent wirelessly to the router, and then the router sends it to the internet. This is the communication protocols. Okay, the central location or the cloud. Next one is the data storage. Data storage is the cloud storage and processing. Once the data reaches the cloud, it typically stored in the databases or the data lakes. Cloud-based servers, and the servers then processes and analyze and store the data. This can involve real-time data streaming, batch processing, and data warehousing technologies. Okay, these are the things: data storage and the processing. Once data reaches the cloud, it is typically stored in databases. How they are stored in the cloud, it is saying like that. Stored in the databases. Databases, you can think of some sort of containers like thing. Okay, they are stored in the databases. Database. Learn these databases. Database management will be the topic in the next semesters. Cloud-based servers and the services then processes, analyze, and store the data. Cloud-based servers and the services then processes this data, analyze the data, and store the data. This can involve real-time data streaming and batch by batch processing, and the data warehousing technologies. Okay, next is data analysis. Data analysis is the process. IoT data can be analyzed for various purposes such as monitoring, predictive maintenance, anomaly detection, and more. Advanced analytic techniques include machine learning techniques, and artificial intelligence may be applied to derive values, patterns, and insights. Predictive maintenance means a predict before its failure and fix. Anomaly detection means system noticing odd abnormal data. Abnormal data. IoT data can be analyzed for various purposes such as monitoring, predictive maintenance. Predictive maintenance means we predict it before the failure and fix it. And okay, I am writing that down for you. Analysis means we predict it before and try to fix it. Okay. Including machine learning and the artificial intelligence may be applied to derive valuable insights and patterns from the data. And the data visualization is data and reporting. IoT platforms often provide data dashboards and visualization tools to present in the data for user-friendly formats like this, and the user can monitor the data, set up alerts, and generate reports and decision making. If you are wearing Apple watches or the Samsung watches, you are knowing that it counts the steps, it um, analyze your heart rates, analyze your blood pressures and everything, and gives you a report based on your health. And accordingly, uh, uh, the reports shows graphs, shows your pulse rate, your blood report, your everything, some sort of thing, and that you are able to understand it in a greater note. So these are decision making techniques. IoT platforms often bring the dashboards and the visualization tools to present the data in the user-friendly format. User can monitor the data, set up alerts for specific events, and generate reports for decision making. Smart equipments are the feedbacks and the controls. IoT system can also design to provide real-time feedbacks and controls. For example, based on the sensor data, an IoT system might adjust the temperature in the smart thermostat. Okay, control the lighting of the smart home or optimize the observations of the industrial equipment. These are the smart equipments, feedback control systems like the temperature and the thermostat is maintained on their own by the sensors, and the control of the lighting in the smart home is done by the motion sensors, or the optimize the operations of the industrial equipment, like working of the industrial equipments. Next one is the security and privacy thing. Security and privacy, given the sensitive nature of the IoT, the security measures like encryption, access control, and secure authentication are crucial to protect data integrity and user privacy. These are like this. Encryption means end to end. You have seen in the WhatsApp, that is encrypted messages end to end connected to the user, no third person. Uh, Second is access control, means multiple key card. And third is the secure authentication uses password. So security and privacy, given the sensitive nature of the IoT, security measures, encryption, and the access and secure authentication and crucial and protects the data integrity and the user privacy. Next is the security and privacy. Data collection using the IoT has a wide range of applications, including smart homes, industrial automation, agriculture, healthcare, environmental monitoring, and more. It enables an individual to make data-driven decisions, automate processes, and more efficiency in the domains. So, if you think of how these are used in agriculture, IoT sensors might monitor the soil moisture and the nutrient levels. Then, this data enables farmers to make informed decisions about the watering and the fertilization of optimizing the yields and conserving the resources. These are useful in the agricultural things. These are very good things. The agricultural students are finding the sprayers like the on IoT sprayers and the drones for spraying the fertilizers according to the need. Collecting data from the data from web and internet networks. Collecting data from the web and the social media involves various techniques and the tools essential to ensure that the collected data is done uh, ethically and with legal boundaries. Here are our views of the web data collections, social media. First one is web crawlers. Web crawlers do the thing here in the image. First, the web crawler initial web address called seed URLs. Next is the visit this website and analyze the content of the page. Then the third is then look for all hyperlinks embedded in that page and add them to the list to the pages to visit it for later. These are the things they do. They initially visit the web addresses, that is the seed URLs. Then next they visit these websites and analyze the content. Then they look for all the hyperlinks in the website. They do like this. Like mainly the Google and the Bing, the Microsoft Bing using this web crawlers method for indexing the web. You can see if you scroll down to the totally bottom of the Google search, any Google search, there are numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The web crawlers do the listings and give the index accordingly. The most important relevant to your search given in the first, then the second is then lesser than the first one, third one is then lesser than it goes up to 10. I think it continues up to infinity. The last one is the least important, the crawlers. Web crawlers, also known as the spiders or the bots, are automated programs that browse websites and collect information. They browse website on their own and collect information about that. They follow on the web pages and index contents for the search engines. Use the web crawler. While using the web crawler, collect publicly available data. Some websites have measures to place and block the web crawling as these are illegal. Next is HTML, the hypertexting markup language portion. HTML has the picture. I'm telling you everything about the thing. First one is byte. Bytes are molecules of ingredients that, if you are making a cake, molecules of ingredients are the bytes. Next is the ingredients that are the characters. The tokens are the mixed ingredients, and the nodes are the shapes for the mold shape of the cake, and DOM are organized plating of the cake. In computational language, the bytes are the binary codes that are binary, hexadecimal, or octadecimal, or in the decimal forms. The characters are the letter, numbers, and the punctuations. Third one is the tokens that are building blocks of the HTML. Fourth one is the tree structure, that is B tree. We'll be learning further. Next is hierarchical representation of the HTML code. Bytes are 3C, 70, 3E, 20, 48, 65, 6C, 6C, 6F, 6C, 6F, 20, 20, 77, 6F, 72, 6C. Next is the character. hello world, that the characters of the numbers and the letter mixtures, and the tokens are the starting and the end tags. The nodes are the p and hello world printed, and the DOM is the body, then the element, and then the text. It shows the algorithm sort of thing. uh, you will learn in the DOM about the DOM in the next phase. Parsing is breaking down the HTML code into smaller pieces so that the understand by the computer. It will be understand by the computer more clearly. So the web scraping involves parsing the HTML structure of the web pages to extract uh, such as the text, images, and the links. Tools like Beautiful Soup and Kerio JavaScripts are mostly used for the purpose. Parser, a computer program that breaks down the text recognized strings of the characters for the further analysis. How the Beautiful Soup Python and the Kerio JavaScript actually works. First, imagine you want to find uh, all the pieces of the book. Then you download the web page HTML code. Then you did use a tool like Beautiful Soup in Python to parse or break that code and find the parsers that shows the pieces, and this will be understood by the computers. So the next topic we will be learning is the DOM. We will learn this thing in the next video, as the video is already being 2 hours long, I think. So thank you for this video, and we will start with the DOM in the next video. Okay, thank you.